All right, test, test. Are we in? Are we in? Ooh, ooh. My mic levels don't look quite right to me. Just a second. Testing, testing. That makes me happier. Good morning, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the intro of Dog TV. And I say I hope as if I wasn't already believing it. It's obvious you like this sort of shit. It's Dog TV. It's made for you guys. I'm going to close that out. Honestly, I shouldn't have closed the window. I should have kept it up ready for our break times. Welcome back in. Time for Crime Scene Cleaner. It is time for crime. The cleaning of crime. Let me go through and say hi to everybody. Hold on. Welcome in, Mochi. Thank you for being the first chatter today. Also, it seems like this was your first time chatting here, so welcome in. What a good little kitty you are. Temper, good to see you. First pill today is yours as usual, but this time you actually were here quick enough to get it instead of just sneaking it in like an hour later. Welcome in Blood Orange. Welcome in Gauss Barrels. Good to see you both. I believe I've said hello to everybody. Gotta have one in because I'm at work. Well, hopefully we can make your workday at least a little better. You won't have to pay a lot of attention. This is one of those games that's more meticulous. Crime Scene Cleaner. Fucking incredible game. Masterpiece. Work of art. Love this shit. Let's rock. That's right. We have a whole fucking museum of murder to clean. It's a huge map, so I'm expecting some frame drops as the map loads in. My really good buddy Martin played this, and for whatever reason, the in-joke became that I was the reason for the crime scenes. You're keeping me employed. I appreciate that.
I am back.
Oh, this is the first time I left in the middle of a job and came back, so I guess he has a fun little line. You're so welcome. I know how rough the job industry is these days, for sure. Yeah, let me pop the balloon. Let me get it. I want to engage in violence. This balloon is made of steel. Can I get it in a corner? In there. I must pop a balloon. Now it's my mission. We could fucking get it in there. Yes, baby! Job industry, so every industry. Not true. Landlords also have some trouble in their industry, and that's not a job. I feel when my job is employment. Okay. What are we doing? There's so much to fucking do. Honestly, my first instinct is like to start at the door and clean inward, but I need to find a water source. That's where I need to be. Interesting. Here we go. Here's a water source. I gotta go on my lunch, so I'm gonna be super in and out, but I will be half lurking and enjoy cleaning crimes. Oh, I will. For certain. Ooh. Gonna keep that. What is up with that kitchen? We're in a museum, Temper. Yeah, the whole premise is like this was a museum where a bunch of rich people got together to do some murdering. And then they went a little ham today. So they needed to call in a cleaner. I don't have access to like... Okay, I need to like find a way up there to close, to open that shit from the inside. But I bet... Huh. I wonder if I'm gonna have to do platforming in that suspended furniture room. Ooh. No information for me. Damn. Okay. Can we get all the way over here? We can. The cafeteria.
Looks like a VIP area. But shouldn't it be off limits?
Interesting. Game has ended. There's our fucking water source. The artist can't know we got sacrificial victim author stuff real quick. What do we do? I don't know, just the guy. Just the guy. We just got the guy. Where's my... Beautiful. We've got a guy for this. We're rich and we've got a guy for this. Need I say more? Can I turn, like, the fucking lights on in this joint? It's so dark. It's so dark, and I'm not gonna, like, see the grime I'm supposed to be sliming. Evidence. CEO, busy tonight. Text me if anything happens. Clark, then I will keep you updated. Clark, Crime Coin is suddenly rising in value. Should we buy? Clark, I'm telling you, it's gonna skyrocket soon. Boss, hello, can I buy it? Boss, it's urgent. Answer, please.
Probably crashed by now.
Well, falling the fire alarm would be a good way to get everything wet and soaking real fast, but it would also attract unwanted attention. I want the lights on. Is there a light switch anywhere, please? God.
That guy must have really spoiled their fun.
Is there nothing? Let me turn on the lights. What if there's like a big centralized like control bay that I'm supposed to be finding? Like I could clean this place with just my flashlight, but I feel like I would have a lot more pleasant of a time if I could just flick it all on. Okay, okay. Let's go with some logic. There's usually a light switch by the front door of any building. Not the case here. So my next guess would be behind the desk. But there is no admissions desk. Gosh, what to do? What to do? Like, certainly the lights are not already considered to be on. Well, no, actually, wait. They might be. No, no, like, look at that. That's not okay. Another fire alarm. Main hall shit. Ugh. Oh, here's some backstage stuff. Okay, here we go. This might be where I can find some lights. Well, I found a wad of cash. To be clear, I'm not trying to like, I'm not trying to find the light switch in the lockers. It's just if I see something I can open, I'll open it. VIP event planned for tomorrow. Count it as your day off. No need to turn anything off. Text will take care of everything. We will see each other on Monday and have a good rest till then.
Never say no to a paid day off.
Damn right. What's this? Huh?
Time for a bag swap.
I'm trying to throw anything away. Oh, we can go backstage. Where they straight up did kill a guy. Ah. Wow. It's the garbage band. And now they got some garbage. Ooh, there's more. Oh, it was just another way back. I just want to find out. Oh. For your future. Okay, well, I've got another water source back here, so that's good to know about at least. But what I'm... Again, my quest is to find a way to turn the lights on in this damn house, so that way I don't have to, like, move around a lamp. Though then again, maybe the whole point is it's supposed to be fucking dark in here, and it's like, oh, you better have invested in lamp upgrades. Ooh, 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 lag, lag, lag. What's with the lag? What's with the lag? Hmm. And then this was the fucking maze, wasn't it? Ooh. I get these lag spikes in my crime scene cleaner. That will probably go down as I reduce the amount of mess in the space, but still. Banger. Fucking banger. Don't forget to water plants and yourself. Maybe that guy ended up here. Hmm. The duck cult. Fuck. Yeah, okay. I've given up on finding lights, which means that I'm instead just going to be, determining where to start. And I think I'm going to start here in the cafeteria, because I spent a lot of time trying to get here. Enough lollygagging, let's do it. First thing to leave the cafeteria is this body.
Had some other plans then, just to participate in their game.
When you see a job this big, there's nothing you can do but tackle it. Good. 1 out of 10. There's gonna be so much back and forth. But you know, it's fine. It's fine. And let me see if I can, get my fucking lamp out. Over here. That helps a little bit, huh? Let's, yeah, well, I'll use this to demarcate the spaces that I'm focusing on. So right now, I'm gonna clean from behind the counter all the way up to here. Nice and simple. Now this yellow gaming chair certainly doesn't belong here. Yeah, there's no way. It has to belong in the yellow room. Whole brick of Coke. I still love the fact that you can just steal. First to kill, Barry Barrel, 7,000. First to die, Nicole Cherry, 10,000. Most kills, Yasuke Yuzuki, 20,000. Last man standing, Nick Knight, 40,000. Find secret room, Naoi Mikuri, 5,000. Ooh.
I guess you can put a price on human life.
Now I know there's a secret room. How joyous. Remembering my controls. I've been playing Minecraft like a fool, like an idiot.
Rock and roll eats the rich, as it was meant to be in the first place.
Oh, someone killed that dude with a guitar. Got it. Okay, so there's gonna be a lot of items to put back in order, because what I'm guessing is they had a whole battle royale moment. Just put that here. Nothing goes back here. Yeah, that goes out there. Whoop. Forget the sponge. Let me mop. Let me mop this up. Here we go. Okay, this is home base. This is home base of the clean. We can now operate. Okay, crime scene beer, good. I still think about my fucking crime scene beer question though. Like we've hashed it out before, chat. Just the idea that like if there's a crime scene and there's evidence, but the crime's been solved and there's like perfectly sealed, hermetically sealed drinks on the premises that got a little blood on the outside, there's no problem in popping them open when the crime is solved, and I'm gonna stand by that. If I was in some way responsible for guarding like the evidence locker in which the crime beer is, I would be every day being like, Chief, have we determined whether or not this beer is critical to the case yet? Hey Chief, have we determined at some point whether or not this beer will be like the thing that solves the case? How about today, Chief? And Chief every time will be like, Dove, you don't work here. Don't call me Chief, get out. And I'll be like, so is that a yes? I don't even drink beer, but it's just like the thought of a crime beer. A beer flavored with crime. That's enticing to me. What strange things have been witnessed by the strangest of brew? I want to play a crime scene cleaner prequel where we do the crimes. I want to be part of this world. This museum battle royale. That fucks to me. How many perishables do you think are on lockups? I feel like there has to be someone sneaking in to snack it. Oh, for sure. Like, you know, that's an angle I didn't even think about, Blood Orange. Perishables. The beer is not perishable, but what if like there is a linchpin piece of evidence that is like a whole little bag of baby carrots, right? A little hermetically sealed plastic bag of small and crunchy guys. One must wonder, is anyone eating those? Is anyone gonna eat that? Or am I free to chow down? Am I free to get some ranch dressing from a different unrelated crime and go ham on it? And I would imagine that like there's a small window where they're relevant to the case until eventually this evidence is destroying itself. So you might as well let me destroy it with my mouth.
Disturbingly cozy place to watch people fight for their lives.
Oh, game has ended is the laptop thing. Got it. Is the death game was what they were watching on their laptops. I didn't track that until I saw that there were multiple, and then he said that they were watching from here. Okay, well, we need another one here, so that's gonna go like that. Ooh, that was cash. I thought that was another thing for the yellow room. Well, we can put that back in order. Nice and easy. Getting these tables back in order is what's really going to make this doable. Ooh, this bottle of Absolute we can put here. Ooh. Someone's laptop just flew. Pick it up, Kowalski. Pick it up. Fuck! Oh, shit. Oh, man, I wanted to catch the beer before it fell. They all exploded. Fuck. Listen, I'll hide all the murder, but I cannot hide the crime of vandalism. They're gonna get me for that. Stacked, huh? Weird. Alright, well, we got more tables to solve. Okay, you can go there. Let's get some chairs figured out, huh? Beautiful. Need to figure out some more table. Okay. Pretty solid assessment we got going on here. And then that can go here. Jeez. Where's the chair type that goes over here? Did it fly? Did it fly out? There it is. Wow, that really flew. Okay, come back. Ooh, ooh, ha. Perfect. Just in time for an ad break. See you guys in a second.
Sometimes you gotta pop out and show niggas. Certified boogeyman, I'm the one that up to
Welcome back in, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the dancing fruits. This is like the Cocomelon baby distraction lab. I'm trying to find out what can best distract you. Let me put that away. All right, welcome back in. Thank you for enjoying the ad break and enjoying the small fruits. We've only just started. We've only just started the cleaning. We gotta do it. Okay. These mini tables. Well, okay, obviously this can just... Woo! Woo! Come on. Line it up. Beautiful. Beautiful. Given how some modern museums are, you could probably do a half job and it still wouldn't be realized. For a while, at least. To be honest, I feel like it is a very rare modern museum that would actually go this far. There's that famous exhibit with the machine that's like trying to squeege up some blood back toward itself, and it's like so gruesome and beautiful, and like the noises it makes. But there's still that boundary of like, obviously, that's in an exhibit and that's not impeding the functional use of the space. So if I wanted to make that sort of, if I wanted to make that sort of half job work, I would need to clean the blood in all the usable space and leave the dead things in the unusable space, the exhibits, the things that aren't meant for touching. And then the museum directors would come in and see this mess and be like, oh, and they'd have to really quickly whip up some advertising and be like, it's gore nights at the Louvre. You know what I mean? Make it a whole event. Ah, I missed a little schmutz. It's a good thing I just changed that out. Let's clean this shit up. And I gotta remember that there is at least a secret room to keep an eye out for. My $100. Fuck. Gore Nights at Louvre sounds like an 8 out of 10 VN. Oh my god, yeah. An 8 out of 10 VN because like it has like 9 dateable boys, but only 2 of them are like really iconic and the rest are so generic. I would be one of the iconic boys in Gore Nights at the Louvre. A BLVN on Itch.io. They'd sell merch of me. It's like how whenever I see fan art of Slow Damage, it's always of Tawa or Toa. I've never heard it said. I actually I'm under the impression that that's like the player character too, and not even like a love interest. Like fucking I know Alba is the fucking player character in Dramatical Murder, and he's like all the fucking... Anytime I see any fan art of Dramatical Murder, it's usually, if it's solo any character, it's Alba. People like that twink. I think it's a pretty solid VN. Good morning, chat. What's the burger and or other food desiring status during crime scene cleaner today? I mean, yesterday I had a veggie delight from Subway and it hit the fucking spot. We're desiring Twinks instead. You're only here if you desire Twinks. It's good to see you there. Yeah, right now I'm discussing just sort of like Dramatical Murder and Slow Damage. Alba Scotland. Fuck is it called? Dramatical Murder and Slow Damage, both of their most iconic characters are the player character and not one of the love interests. Whereas in the BLVN that I would theoretically star in, Gore Nights at the Louvre, apparently, I would be the iconic love interest to whatever worthless main character the player is projecting themselves into. Quick chat. Identify yourself as a BLVN archetype. I'm the little brat boy. The one that's ambiguously a Shota. The one that's technically legally listed as 18 or unlisted in like their bio because they don't want to get fucking dogpiled by antis. Get back in position, you stupid chair. Nitro Chiral know what they're doing with Twink Designs. Remind me what they got going on. Who are they? Probably the senpai with the mysterious past. Oh, that's very you, Ver. Need to find out where this goes. New Carnival? Okay, got it. No, okay. N plus C Nitro Chiral is those two. Oh, they did them both? I didn't know they did them both. Now, to be clear, I always want to make sure I'm very clear about this shit. I have not played either of those. I was speaking from a position of cultural osmosis. Yeah, and Sweet Pool, I think another. Okay. Generally fit into like lonely poetic fuckface. Yeah, love that. So I guess that, I don't know what the main archetypes are. No, that's one of them for sure. The lonely poetic fuckface. There are many archetypes. If you want to like lean hard into like the general fucking VN archetypes, if any of you have seen Host Club, there you go. Okay, Nitro Chiral kind of specializes in violent BL. That's perfect. I'm into that. I'm missing chairs and like a table. Okay, well, hold on. I know what to do about these tables. I have a whole extra table right here. Ah, upstairs, of course. Violent BL, delicious. If visual novels were more generally engaging, I would want to stream them, but it is a very reactive, receptive experience. Not much that I could put my own input on. Probably an unhinged older brother. That's excellent, Mochi. Good job. We love an unhinged older brother. I think you get mileage out of looking into Sweet Pool. That is, as I recall, by far the most fucked up title. I've only heard that mentioned in passing by name. And so that's very promising. Like, I've never heard anyone get in depth on Sweet Pool, and if it's by these same losers, I'm guessing it's because no one wants to discuss what happens in there, which is quite promising to me. Okay, might be soon time to... Yeah, let's get a little squeeze on. Where's my water bucket? Over here. What did I just knock over? Nothing? Alright. Toss. Okay. I'm gonna bring this up here. Let's swap out our bucket too. Nice and careful, don't want to spill. It was pre-DMD, largely fallen out of public eye, but it was brought up a lot when DMD was first making rounds during the fan translation era. Oh yeah, like, have you heard of Dramatical Murder? Check out this, right? It's by the same guys who did this. Got it, understood. There's a lot of meat. My understanding is very few pools. Bold decision. Here we go. Nice and easy. I've considered, like, every now and then, watching the trailer, I don't see any pools. Wow, that's weird. Not a single one? Fucking Christ. Kowalski's got the slippery fingers today. Okay, okay, okay. Come on, dude. Just pick up the chair. And then this is my extra chair for downstairs. Perfect. What? I know. Yeah, you go here, dude. Oh, you're the wrong style of chair. Okay. They look somewhat similar. Yeah, here you go. You go here. It's all coming together. Things are coming to what I like to call gether. Yeah, I've toyed with the idea of BLVNs and like making one. Like obviously, like I'm way too busy with a lot of stuff, and I have not refined the skills necessary to make anything of that caliber. But you ever have like this idea in your head that is not just a passing thought, but it keeps resurging, and you're like, yeah, one day when an opportunity presents itself, I will strike like the hungry viper. Because I know that something that could be emergent from my tastes and my background could be revolutionary in some subcultures. Like, I know the BLVN that I could, with tooth and nail, rip out of my core, would become a footnote of pop culture, something that is central to some people's artistic palette. And when that is the potential reward, then truly that is certainly enough motivation. It all comes down to opportunity. Okay. I'm only just peeking out here to make sure I'm not missing any, like, because I'm still missing furniture in here, right? I'm missing, yeah, I gotta put a lot of shit back in there. But I'm missing a single table. Maybe it got thrown out here? There's another yellow chair, and I know we need that somewhere else. Hmm. Hmm. Come on. There's just supposed to be a little side table that does not belong. Actually, wait. Gosh, that was so neatly placed, I presumed. Nope, it doesn't belong there. Excellent. Right here. All right. And then find misplaced exhibits. Well, this. And there's one more thing in here that's not meant to be in here. Hmm. What a quaint and household style sugar container for this space. Wait, is that the point? If I, like, there was a kitchen. No, that wasn't it. In that case, I'll put it back. Someone really likes the sugar container in their museum cafeteria. Misplaced exhibits, huh? Ooh, stealable. Oh, is this the scoreboard for their game death? Good luck and good night. Nice. This painting. Yeah, it doesn't even belong here, does it? Okay. Hey, cafeteria's clean, gang. Check that out. Ooh, check me out. Okay. That's fine. I don't give a shit. Now we get to enjoy this. Now this I could just not clean. Right? This would be art right here. But alas. Actually, I should have filled this with water and properly carried it with me. Make sure everything is perfectly keyed up. Excellent. Wrong direction, Dove. Come on. Get it together. All right. Let's figure this out. Where I'm at is I want to start climbing. But I'm going to go get that red chair that belongs. And then red chair here too. And then I dropped something from the walkway, but that was yellow. This museum fucking rules. So my thought is clean from top to bottom always. All right. What about this? Beautiful.
Underestimate the power of parkour.
Ah, shut up, Kowalski. Beautiful. Beautiful. What a lovely video game this is. I would love to have seen the fucking epic action scene that happened to make this place the way it is. That chair is fine, that drawer is fine. Cool, I just need to get things back up. But first... Aha! Nothing? Nothing, okay. Let's do some figuring. And this is already clean, isn't it? Someone get the Uwe ball so we can see this on the big screen. What is that? What are you talking about? Whoa! Shit. Totally cheesed it. If I can...
Red to red.
Perfect. Right there, I think I can get from here. Beautiful. We need to put... this I'm going to set politely here. A German director famous for primarily making terrible video games and movies that were only done for tax reasons due to German law. Oh, that guy, right? Got it. The one who markedly didn't do the Silent Hill movies because the guy who did the Silent Hill movies was actually passionate about it and then got fucked over by producers. He also boxed one of his critics. Yo! That's hilarious. Chat, to be clear, in this house, we like the Silent Hill movies. We acknowledge them as trash, but they are peak trash. The first one is peak, and the second one is trash, in terms of which one has which primary trait. Okay, I totally knocked that loose. Woof. Let's get this fucking area, this floor clean. Let's just get this looking right. Love the light slap of them up. It's really a lovely slap, slap, plap, plap motion, huh? Rocking up to the ethical Goonsess sounding like... Hey, I'm liking this track. But it sounds like my milkshake brings all the boys to the yard and they're like, it's better than yours. Which is great. I just need to share that with you, that interpretation. Oh, correction. 5 of his critics in 10 rounds each. Ooh, not bad. Plap, plap, get clean, get clean, get clean. Echo, you're the king of the chat right now. You can make anyone do whatever you want. You can bite them, bite them, bite them. Until someone says something funnier. Well, you gotta suck Echo's toes, everyone. That's the command. If you don't want to suck Echo's toes, say something funnier. Ooh, shit. Kowalski, come on, man. Just missed a pair of footprints. Ooh, I missed the whole rear side of this. I can reach it with the mop, though, I'm pretty sure. Can I get that, too? Beautiful. Joke's on you, I don't have a mouth. Hey. A vacuum has no mouth, and yet it famously sucks. You can figure it out. Okay, wrong chair for the job. Just reminded me, there's a sad piano that plays in the VR chat acting world, and once discovered the tune that plays a sad cover of Chug Jug with you. Art. Pure and simple. Okay. Well, this is another up there chair. Think I can... Perfect. Yeah, okay. Not the right chair for the job. We've determined that. Where else do you go? Oh, you just go here? Okay, alright, cool. So in which case I'm searching just for... Yeah, okay, I gotta keep my eye out for some more red chairs. Gotta remember to look in there. Let's not forget this beauty. Unfortunate. Rip to a real piece of work. Sad to announce I'm joining the police force in Need for Speed. Need for Speed. That's a video game, alright. Honestly, between the two, I'm a little more upset that you play Need for Speed. I'm joking, you can play whatever video game you want, but I'll judge you no matter what. Your choices don't matter, because I'm going to judge you regardless of what they are. So, play what you want. Looks like another ad break is starting, so I'm going to see you guys in a bit. Have fun. Welcome back in from Dancing Fruits ad hell. Yes, we are on the Cocomelon bullshit. I think it's so much funnier than dog TV. TV for dogs is basically TV for babies, but the babies are furry and have prey drive. Let's see here. We had just basically finished cleaning that other exhibit. We just need to keep an eye out for some pieces, right? Like, there's no more cleaning to be done in here. Oh, because yellow counts as part of this. Okay. Well, in that case, let's follow like the sectioning that the game provides. Starting with this. You know, it's fun to be an honorary dog. Never in my life have been a dog or dog boy otherwise. Good boy with prey drive. That's half of the chat. Did you know that humans have prey drive, just like in general?
It won't move like this.
Okay, here we go. Nice and easy. It's good. It's good that humans have prey drive. It's what I feel towards all of you, my chatters. I need my fucking lamp. 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 This lamp really don't like playing. There we go. And I am not a good boy. I am your master. Your ruler. I am the new dawn. The king in yellow cowers at my name. Yes, my liege, that's right. That's a good cat boy, Mochi. That's basically what my husband felt toward our cat earlier, but we just call it cute aggression. It's like socially acceptable. Listen, Chad, if you ever want to get my attention, sit down facing away from me and then tentatively look back over your shoulder a few times, and that'll just get me right zeroed in. Does Hastur even have knees? Can he cower? Interpretations. I think I could kick anyone's ass, be they eldritch or of this realm. Astaroth doesn't want to accept that I could whoop his ass. But I can. I've done it before. He won't admit that's what it was. I can take on an eldritch being in a fight, right? Yes, in a fight. I can't think of a single eldritch being that would want that I would want to screw. Because they're all too pathetic. Just completely fucking knocked that at you. Ver, I was going to exclude you from that statement, but I feel like you want a challenge. Oh, ooh, art. The bone in the toilet represents the fact that the toilet is, in a way, a part of the modern human body. It is an extension of ourselves. Skibbity bone. Correct. This is probably fragile, but I'll figure it out when I figure it out. I appreciate your consideration, appreciate you as an ally instead, but if you threw down the gauntlet, who would I be to deny you? That's absolutely correct. I suppose we'll have to get our muskets out and duel at dawn or something of sufficiently poetic nature. But with me, it's always dawn, so honestly, it's whenever. Oh, honestly, I kind of don't want to clean this now. Look at how cunty that looks. This goat statue only half dipped. Oh, this rules. But alas, it's evidence. This is an art museum, and I can't let anyone know that anyone served cunt here. That would be too suspicious.
Something is blocking the way.
Oh, this thing. Eh. There we go. Now it's a straight shot.
The red here truly pops.
Kowalski, shut up, man. Why? Automod doesn't know what it's like to be gay. Hold on. You're allowed to say cunty, and you're allowed to say cuntier. Automod's like, you can't be gay and you can't be Scottish. No one says cunt or any variation of it. A statue of Dove would need to be even cuntier. A statue of me would need to have like a whole like room arranged for it. What? Dove Bleeding Heart added permitted term cunt. That's right. Maybe it like, I feel like we've said that word in chat before, so I'm wondering why it blocked it out there. Oh, because I allowed cunty, but I didn't allow cunt or cuntier, right? So only like something can be sort of like it, but it can't be extremely like it or it. That's where we were before we rectified. Oh, cuntiest, got to allow it, got to allow it. Let me in there. Let me alt tab over to allow it. Boom. All right, good. Oh, wisdom redeem. The idea of boning the unknowable has brought me to the natural endpoint. Worst, hear me out. Ooh. Okay. All right. So wisdom normally as a redeem is meant for me giving you life advice. But you've asked this question and I feel so enticed to engage with it. Here's the thing. I, Dove Bleeding Heart, only have an interest in presences that include he in their pronouns. If something is only they or a she they or any of the neo pronouns of Z's and Z's without a he, I'm not into it. I'm not here to engage with that. I'm here to respect you. And if you have a he in there, you are going in the fucking masher. So when it comes to my worst hear me outs, it comes to exceptions to that rule. There is one she, her that I consistently am like, okay, whatever you say. And that's Maleficent. And I know she's not a bad hear me out because she's a fucking babe. All right? Maleficent is a canonical babe, but for me, that's a hear me out because it's a she, her. All right? And I'm talking about the original cartoon Maleficent. Scarjo, I love you to bits. The movie Maleficent is my trash and I love it. Not Scarjo, Angelina Jolie. Beautiful, incredible performance, incredible, but the original Sleeping Beauty Maleficent, fearsome. She could do to me whatever I beg Astaroth to do to me, and I would say, yes, ma'am. Now, what you wanted, though, with that hear me out was something a little nastier, right? And so there is a second she, her that sometimes I will assent to. Sometimes I'll be like, okay. And that is, for those of us who have played Monster Hunter Worlds, Iceborne, Shara Ishvalda. Shara Ishvalda is peak monster design to me. And I would let that creature chew on me. And worse. She is perfect. Those are my two worst hear me outs, and they are only hear me outs because they are she, hers. Okay. I imagine you liked that, chat. I'm happy you liked that. I hope Blood Orange, that had better be sufficiently redeemed wisdom.
Spice up the bloodshed.
You had Angel at Monster Hunter. Very well. Less hear me out and just like some notable hotties from Monster Hunter. Zynogar, love that. That beast, total hottie. Odogaron, I like the ebony one. Valhazak is my cute little baby boy who I vubify. Who else is a hottie in Monster Hunter? Valhazak is such a cutie. He's the stinky. Let's see here. Did I already clean this? Yeah, I did. The stinky! I need a sticker of Valhazak that's just like a redeem that's just the stinky, and it's him. I know Velkhana is too sparkly for you, but I like him. I always read Velkhana as a she-her, so I never took that into my considerations. But yeah, a bit sparkly. Velkhana as a she-her is a grind I respect, and as a he-him, as a princely type, I feel like could go in the masher. Like a read of Velkhana that I would like is if Velkhana was like interpreted like Furina from Genshin Impact, you know, like a little bit self-important, pompous, trying too hard. I got Velkhana and Malzena poster in my room. That shreds. That absolutely shreds. By the way, Genshin Impact opinions. Furina is one of the few canonically she/her characters in Genshin Impact that I feel like is actually good, like well written, and is like someone that I like.
Sorry, I am late for your deathbed confession.
Kowalski, relax. And I'll sometimes call Furina a he/him just because I like boys, but Furina's just a delight. Let's see. Can't forget Tobi Kadachi. Tobi Kadachi is a handsome little guy. He's so charming, so dashing. I think of him as like Riku Kingdom Hearts. That's how I interpret Tobi. Transmask Furina art is peak too. Oh, for sure. I feel like there is like I don't have like the urge to like fanfic about Genshin in any way. Like I kind of like it, but there is the unfortunate, you know, like shit that they do. With regards to, you know, being racist and colorist. So I don't give them my money anymore ever since they really shat the bed with that. But I'll play the game and pull freebies. When I don't really fanfic about it too much, but when it comes to Furina, I'm sort of in a position where I'm like, I feel like as a character, having been performing a character for so long, she never had time to really think about gender, and now that whole ruse is over, I feel like Furina's going to have some gender thoughts in the next few years. And escape the horrible mortal coil of being assigned she/her. Wild racism aside, Genshin just takes so much time to catch up on. For real. Absolutely for real. Especially with like how like they really want to pack a lot of like filler and random like time eating and a lot of stuff. Same with Honkai. I was a really big fan of Honkai Star Rail until like post Penacony patches have just been yeah, specifically Honkai Star Rail. Post Penacony patches have had just way too much junk in it that I can't skip. With characters that I don't care about. And again, I'm leaning into this. Most of the fucking characters they introduce are she/hers. They're all femmes of some type, and I'm like, good. I'm happy the girls are getting what they want. I'm not there for it. Right? Give me a boy. The last time Honkai Star Rail released a top tier boy was Misha, a 4-star who died. Spoilers, I guess. I think that's pretty old news now. Okay, yeah, one too many. I don't really need to do this right now, but I'm gonna. Besides Venti, Scaramouche is another top tier boy. I had a dark realization a while ago that Scaramouche is me coded and that I am Scaramouche coded. Scaramouche and Dove really fit similar character niche. Pompous brat. feel like Hoyoverse has a wild boy like a revolution between Sumeru and Stariel, and it's gone now. Yeah, they really fed us and then forgot about us. Did we like get this? Okay, there's something in here that's not meant to be in here. Oh, shit. Where the hell does this lamp go? Maybe upstairs? Up the ladder, rather? Yeah. Rat that wants to step on everyone. Yeah, it's Scaramouche coated. I always have Kaya, so it's okay. Kaya is such a good fucking boy. What a great character. So that's 2, right? But I'm short 4. What's the deal? Oh, yeah, okay. So I'm missing 3 chairs, a globe, and then some reds. We can get out of here then. We're good. But still, there's actually a misplaced exhibit, though. There's something in here that does not belong. Oh, shit. Hello. We all gotta jump ship to the true Genshin killer, Infinity Nikki. Hey, listen, I know you're really into Infinity Nikki, Temper, but I would like if it had gameplay. I think it would be neat if it had gameplay. My only experience with Genshin was a friend forcing me into it for co-op. Then we realized it was level locked, and I haven't thought about it since. That is the true ending. That is a good ending. Hey, there's some furniture in here that is not supposed to be in here, and I'm so curious about what it could be. This room is Hal Jordan's worst nightmare. Is it this? No, blue is allowed in here. It's just infrequent. Oh, is it this? Is it the hands? Yeah, it's the hands. The hands go elsewhere. Browsing art of the boys fucking is all I need for Genshin. That's all we need. Dress up is gameplay if you're not a coward. You can't play as anyone other than Nicole, who is a she/her. I'm not here for that. When I get a mod that I can play a fucking femboy in Infinity Nikki, when I can play Infinity Nicholas, you'll see it on the stream. Until then, I'm not dressing up a girl. Girls can do that themselves. I'm not so presumptuous to think that a girl needs my help dressing up. I'm not like that. I'm not a misogynist. Nicole does not need my help. Nicholas, however, is a worthless little twink who needs me to wash him and dress him. Can I get an amen, chat? Oh, I just clipped that balloon in. No, that's art. I see how it is. Amen. Amen. We're all here. I'm trying to cultivate an audience of boy likers, and I think so far it is a success. Part of the problem is there isn't a man, so no amen. Don't remind me. Ooh, this is beautiful. Okay, we need to find out what we're doing here. I need my fucking junk is what I need. Pro miss Andy stream because it's hot. All right. We'll see what we can do. Well, I already brought my water bucket. I'm more proactive than I thought. So in which case, this thing. What? This was like a Hot Topic wall. Oh, just lots of furniture to place. They got rowdy up in this bitch.
First.
Come on. Come on. Something underneath? Where is the problem? Oh, here. Boy licker and boy kicker.
Music survived.
shut up, Kowalski. This dude's going nuts. When I learn how to do polls, I'm gonna start doing polls for stupid shit like that. Hey chat, what percentage of you are boy lickers and what percent of you are boy kickers? And then whoever voted boy licker and not boy kicker gets banned permanently, because we're only here to hurt them. Boy schlicker, Echo, you're on fire today. You're on fire today. Well done. Maybe, you know what? I'm gonna take a step back. Echo, this is your stream now. There was a subtle little flip. Guys, Echo's doing the gameplay right now on screen, actually. I've sat back. Echo's come over and taken the mouse and keyboard from me, and this is Echo's stream. Boy Schlicker and other such banger content will continue post-haste. Echo Gaming. Oh, well, yeah, see, that's Echo right there. Echo can pop a balloon first try. Dove, fucking idiot, had to chase it around for a minute. Today we were cleaning up a crime scene after I got too silly. Classic. Way too silly. Let's see. West Wing. We have evidence to collect. We've got... Is this outside or inside? That's inside. Okay, I don't need to worry about that. Is this all... Okay, I don't need to place anything there. Oh shit! That blended in. Good, good, beautiful. Oh, stand back up. There goes. Ooh, ooh. Beautiful. Good morning. Oh, we got so much shit to do. There's a whole dead body here.
You running away or stabbed in the back or both?
This game has a lot of dead musicians. Weren't the apartment people also banned? I think you're right. Well, also this game, you know what I think that might actually be, if we're going to like assume that there's a pattern here and like there's like a reason for it. This game has a lot of like real songs from indie artists that like are getting spotlit here when otherwise they aren't really getting much attention. I bet a lot of these indie artists are cameoing as dead musicians. Beautiful. Reminds me of Miss Custard. Give me that. Ah! Oh, I don't need to clean that. I'm like, let me in the case. No, that's part of the art. Not here. Here.
I also wonder what some people have in their heads.
If your archetype is Scaramouche, what is mine? That's for you to decide, Echo. So far, with how you've how you're trying to be a good boy who got too silly, that feels venti. I think you might be the venti to my moosh. And that's really high praise, so you'd better fucking embrace it.
I need to clear the way first.
It commits crime, exactly.
Fixing.
Here we go. We're really chewing through this. Cleaning this museum might be the whole stream, which I think would be quite stellar. We're like right here, good. We're chewing through this. This is fine. So much blood. Lots of wiping. Just so much wiping. Where the fuck did I put my bucket? Right here. Oh, looks like an ad break is starting. I'll see you guys after a little more Cocomelon. Welcome back from ad hell. Yes, someone spotted that I have Flight Rising bookmarked. I haven't logged in like, oh, maybe 2-3 years. My dragons are still in there. Every now and then I check in and say hi, but like I don't, you know, I'm not in that anymore. That's right. Here we go. Here we go. Rediscover the rhythm. Now, I've only wiped up half of the blood in what's considered the West Wing. But this is not the West Wing. What's the... Oh, right, because we have upstairs to worry about, and we have, Okay, and that's all inside, probably. Yeah, okay, we have the upstairs to worry about, and also we have in here the band. Ooh. And I had to put some hard fucking rock on those fruits. I needed a jam. Let's get this fucking body out of here. Come on, dude.
Someone didn't get along with the rest of the band.
Show me that body, oddy, oddy. Here we go. Nice and easy. Quick, clean. There's still fucking... They got dino skeletons all over this joint. So much of this museum is just putting shit back together. Which is fine. That's like fun. And like part of the whole gimmick of the place. Okay. I should just take this with me. Well, I should go swap it out, actually. Perfect, perfect. We got any Tool likers in the house right now? People who like Tool, the musicians? Whenever I do something stupid like that, remember that it's Echo's gameplay and not mine. Whenever something is pro gaming strats, then it was obviously Dub leading her back at the wheel. Ooh, this looks like I got a huge fucking... Geez, what's the word? There's a word for a bone in a dick that like humans don't have, but a lot of animals do, like raccoons. There are like some animals that have a dick bone, and that's what that looked like. I wish the word didn't escape me. Baculum. Well done, Mochi. You are now the king of the chat. You can make anyone do whatever you want in this chat, so long as it is amusing to me. Oof. No, other side. Other side. Beautiful. And now we need, I'm missing symbols. Make sure they're not in here. Nothing stealable. Mouse. Oh, this also counts, huh? Ah, this little side room. Got it. There's no symbols, huh? That's very pretty. We need to find... Okay, but this counts as upper passage. It's different. There we go. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Oh, there's a lot of sorting out to do in this joint. Cool death game, though. Because it looks like what happened is they started a bunch of people in different spots. And then fucking gave each of them like these kits with like a weapon and some other things. And told them to have at it. The echoing plaps. I love a bloody handprint on a wall. I think it's so pretty. Like, it's just a really cool piece of imagery that, like, can be artistically quite pretty. You know what? There's actually much to be said for, like, the artistic merit of, like, a murder scene. And thank God we have fiction so we can actually discuss this without sounding like complete lunatics. But like, I'm going to talk about one of my least favorite games in the world, and it's The Evil Within 2. The Evil Within 2, just kind of like fucks around and does a lot of cool shit, but not hard enough and not like with enough devotion, and just seems to constantly fall short. That's The Evil Within 2 to me. Where did I... Oh, I put it back there. And one of the things is like, Evil Within 2 aesthetically technically has like 3 antagonists. But what that really maths out to is one really solid antagonist for like two-thirds of the game. A really cool antagonist conceptually there for like maybe like 20 minutes after that, and then your crazy dead wife for the final, like, you know, 1.5 encounters. Like the starter villain carries all the weight and the visual importance and like the character and charisma of Evil Within 2, and then the remaining 2 villains are cool conceptually, but are not allowed to shine with the runtime of the game. And that's real sad, because that means that the game gets worse and less charismatic as you go, right? Like, Evil Within 2 would be such a good game if the order of the antagonists was switched. That would have been banger. But I bring this up because that first antagonist is the unfortunate archetype that you'll see in some media where, like, some writer who has not nearly enough friends or in visual art and not nearly enough experience in visual art assumes that artists can kind of do everything. I can't remember his name is Stefan or Stefano, but that antagonist is a photographer. He was a war photographer, is his backstory, which suddenly magically makes him a savant in the realm of painting and installations and sculpture. I am willing to handwave that, because his whole thing is like he's a serial killer who, you know, arranges the bodies in an artful way and then takes a picture. That's his whole shit. And his installations are beautiful. They are absolutely gorgeous. And why wouldn't they be? You know, like the fact is that the art, the environment designers of Evil Within 2 put a lot of their own artistic thought into the arrangements of this fictional character's murder scenes and made these areas that are really, really pretty. This character of Stefan has such a good sense of form and emphasis and visual weight and color, that like going to certain spaces in Evil Within 2, I'm like, damn, he really popped off with this one. Sorry to the lady who died. Oh yeah, real Sander Cohen type. Yep, exactly. That's the exact sort of archetype that we're talking about here. And they nail it. They fucking nail it. And I love seeing a character like that. I really do. It is a well-worn trope, one that we have seen done time and time again. But when you do it with that much, when you put that much of your, I'm sorry to say this word, Twitch, that much of your cunt into the art, that's always going to be good, even if it's an archetype that we've seen before. And that's one of the things I'll praise Evil Within 2 for. Okay, we need to put the guitar that we found in there. Ooh. This also needs to go bye-bye. I also wish that the Evil Within games were funner to play, just in general. Like Evil Within 1, I love the visual aesthetics for, but like, goddamn, it just doesn't like being played. Horror games have the right idea technically when it comes to reducing your field of view in order to make you feel like small and scared and give you less of a grip on the world. That makes technical sense. And naturally you would want to do that. There is the unfortunate result that if you want an action horror game, that's going to be in conflict, because that makes your shit less playable. And you know what really ruins the fear factor of a game? The emotion of annoyance. Evil Within 1 is annoying to play because I can never see what the fuck is going on. Like, I can't find Evil Within scary or take it very seriously because I'm too busy being like, well, that dude just appeared out of nowhere and fucking bit me, and now I got to restart the last 10 minutes of combat, which is not even that fun of combat because, you know, I'm constantly wondering what the hell's going on. Their fucking DLC where you play as Kidman, that was better for a while because that DLC makes it so you don't have a gun. So you're not expected to be engaged in combat, and you therefore the small field of view can actually be used to its full effect to be fucking terrifying. Until they give you a gun towards the end, and then, you know, it's a little bit more irritating than cool. Put that back up. Give me this delicious looking thing. This looks like a forbidden snack. Here? No. Here? Yes. Forbidden snack. That's where the hands go. Here? Perfect. Oh, man. Fuck. Kowalski, stop throwing shit around, man. There. Just a little bit of Jack Daniels for enjoying the art. Still no clue where that goat goes. All right, all right. We're chewing on through. We're making this place look good. Where do you go? Unclear. Throws it on the floor. It's just art. There's got to be a place for that goat to go. Hands. Find misplaced exhibit. So there's something in here that's not meant to even be in here. What could it possibly be? Well, it won't be anything in a case. Get off of there. No, it has to be something over here. There's a whole Nefertiti that needs to be over there. That takes a square painting. I really wish I could turn the lights on in this place. We've seen that hot statue in the fucking in the spa. Okay, I bet there's a misplaced exhibit here in the back room. Not the mannequin. Pizza box. Ooh. Nice lunch. That's the question. What does not belong? Maybe there's something in here that ain't meant to be here? Ooh, this cat was going to start with a chainsaw. That's cool. Well, we need to return a guitar. We saw one out there. So be it. The guitar. Come here. Round the side. Such an awkward position for a door. Oh shit. See that? $300 for snooping around. You know, you can just like get money by going places and finding it. Just make sure no one sees you doing that. That's financial advice. Is it this? Okay, it's this. The goat goes up here. Good. Excellent. So all that's left in this zone. Yeah, all that's left in this zone is to get things back into here. Excellent. We're making good prog. It'll be fun reassembling this Rex fossil. Where's my bucket? All the way back here. Okay, must have enjoyed the rest of the museum. Thank you for stopping in, Bear. Good to see you around. Here we go. Nice and simple. Felt like there should have been a painting around here, but I guess not. This is the current read for me. We're gonna finish up this sort of pathing. Perfect. Get this all nice and cleaned up. This shit got so violent. I would have loved to, honestly, make me a game or a show just about the fucking... just about the fucking slaughter that happened here. That would have been so banger. Come on, you can do it. The whole fucking like Hunger Games ass, Kill Bill ass murder sesh that happened in this museum, totally worth its own story. This is the globe that's missing from the yellow room. Imagining a very Battle Royale-esque movie. Exactly. And you know what I would do, honestly? Is I would give everyone a weapon with a set amount of ammunition, lock off a bunch of like wings of the museum, and then when there seems to be not enough bodies in conflict, open up a new wing of the museum and over the intercom say there's a new wing of the museum open, here are the entrances, which are all kind of spaced apart, and there's also some ammunition to be found within. Or so, you know what I mean? Just like sort of nod to the idea that Battle Royale was a constantly shrinking arena. And that's why Fortnite did that.
The triplets are back together.
Shut up, dude. Kowalski needs to not be talking while I'm doing his job for him. Wasn't this a group of elites or something? The elites were watching from the cafeteria. They were not involved. Looks like an ad break is starting. I'll see you guys in a minute.
How about a little music to count me money to?
And now for the #1 song in Bikini Bottom, Electric Zoo.
Hey, that's pretty catchy. Beep, beep, boop, bop, beep, beep, boop, beep. Yeah, that's not bad. I love this young people's music.
Welcome back again. Thank you for enduring the ad hell. I hope the berries made it bearable. I find them mesmerizing. The berries. Not the ads. Fuck the ads. The hell was that? Oh, that's the symbols we're looking for. Perfect. Ooh, the joy of putting things in a form of order. What, do these not go here? Oh, it was obfuscated. Occluded even. Right. Right, come off it then. The fuck's my water bucket now? Back here. That's right. We made this our new sort of central outward point. You know what? Let's fucking get these bones loaded up. No, you... Stop. No? Wrong tail? But you have a tail. No, this must be the tail. Right? No, too small. Where is there perhaps another? No. This is the maze. No chance that this is a standalone tale, is it? Hi, Dove. I got back from the court. How are you? Welcome back. Welcome back, Slams. Welcome back, puppy. This museum is turning out to be such a huge ordeal. It might be the whole entire stream. I'm doing quite well. It's good to see you. I've discovered that in order to really see where the dog ends and the child begins, I can just, I put on the fucking dancing berries, and it seems to be well received. You know what? This is a smaller zone. Let's get this handled. Dancing Fruit ASMR, that's right. And by Dancing Fruit ASMR, I mean I played some Tool and I played that fucking Bee Boo 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 Bop from SpongeBob. The song that goes bee bee boo boo bop. Hello, Custard. What's up? Do you like the dancing berries, Custard? Oh, she likes to cause mischief is what she likes. This is not the peace they are looking for. My water bucket is where right now? Oh, it's all the way down and out over there. I got really distracted. But I know that there is a spout I can use in here. Beautiful. Perfect. Uh-huh. Right here. But how are you, puppy? Fuck. Wrong way. Ooh. Can't miss that handprint. Don't you fucking dare, Kowalski. We're just irritated by the court system. They straight up close 6 days a week despite the website saying they're open all week. Classic. Classic United States government move. You want access to some legal infrastructure? How about we give you conflicting information and then make it look like you're the idiot for not interpreting it the way we want. Also, give us money. Your tax dollars aren't enough. Give us some active money right now. Ooh, that's gorgeous. I feel bad erasing this. But I must. Okay, that's all the blood up here in the passageway. Give me that. Good. Good, good. This here, I think we determined does not go here. Yep, no way. Make it easier to see. Was it this one? Yep. And that should go in that other spot. No. Wow. Where's the portrait that goes there? The painting, not a portrait. It might be a portrait, I don't know. I haven't seen it. Okay, well, they could be either here or there. Okay, that one goes here. Okay, so we're missing some art up here, including the goat. Now I know the goat comes here. Ugh, central exhibition. Messy, messy, messy. Oh yeah, naturally these are what's going up there. Cool. Can I score? Goal. And where's my little goat statue? Because I'm pretty sure. Well, this looks historical. Historical bust would go in here. That's Nefertiti. Here we go. Where'd I put that fucking goat statue? There he is. Pick it up, Kowalski. Excellent. Now does this one go over here? Yes.
Now you can go back to being admired.
And then the goat statue. Here we go. Don't just fucking throw it at yourself. Pick it up.
Back where you belong.
I'm missing one thing up here. It'd be cool to determine whether it's a statue or a painting. It's a painting. I'm missing one framed painting. Ooh, more evidence. Game rules. Modern Art Night. Paint it with blood. Rules. The last man alive wins. Only one winner claims the prize. You can't surrender. You can't bring anything from the outside. You can use anything found in the building. If you find a supply box, you can use its contents. You'll be led to different starting locations. The game starts on the signal. You can't leave the building. You can't enter the VIP zone. Any rule breach results in death. Good luck.
I think I've seen this film before.
I love it. Well, this little freak goes elsewhere. Ooh, a little bit of a lag dip there. God, the Duck Temple is going to be such a big task to tackle. You don't go there. You go there. You're a metatarsal. Like, I still think this should go...
Please, don't come.
Oh, that's it. It was a two-parter. I was missing another part. Still would have liked to have found like a light switch and turned all the lights on. Let's go chunk by chunk in the main way. So let's, yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close all the doors. Those are open because it's part of this. And close all this out, close all this down. Oh, one of the square paintings from earlier. Good, good, good. Excellent. Can't close that. But all right. Now I am satisfied with my starting situation. Back here too. Ooh. Chasing in circles? So it was. Get this plesiosaur back where he ought to be. Beautiful. Beautiful. My water bucket right here. Let's move it to a more central location. While this is easier to get. Beautiful, exquisite. We got another yellow chair for the yellow room.
Yellow to yellow.
What am I missing in here? Oh yeah, I have red furniture to throw up on the hooks still. Oh fuck, what am I even thinking? This is the perfect chance for something with a little more kick. It would help to put water in it first. For some reason, Crime Scene Cleaner has been very testy with me today with regards to picking up items and putting them down. Here we go. This is how you clean up a crime scene. Holster that bad boy up. Oh, pinned. Pinned by the beast. Let's get some elbow grease in here.
The chances of getting killed by a dinosaur are low, but never zero.
No, that's true. That wasn't a quip, that was solid advice. Kowalski just laid it out. Okay, here I go, here I go. Kobe! Not even close. Here's that. My baculum. All right, some touching up to do after the pressure wash. Most of the blood in the central area is considered to be mopped up, and that's pretty heartening for me. We know where square portraits are missing from. Paintings, not portraits. Get it right, Dove.
Don't think about falling again.
Excellent. I feel like something should go here, but it doesn't. Weak. Right here. Ooh. We know where this goes. Who's this fucking twink? Or it might be a lady. Who knows?
Lost and found.
Blood is almost completely gone. I think I know where the last of it is. It's probably counting that final room. I could probably use the bathroom as a water supply. Yeah, much easier. Cool. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, what am I talking about? This counts as part of the central exhibit, and it's right here. Someone used a fire extinguisher. That's rock and roll. Right. I need to get up there somehow. Okay, that's all the blood in this lower area. Now it's just about putting things back in place. Not sure where the fire extinguisher... Oh, perfect. Up. Going to carry this to where I've determined the next cleanup to be. And I'm wondering if this zone over here counted as... Yep, this is different. North Exhibition. Does this go in the North Exhibition? No. Oh, but this Nefertiti goes elsewhere. God, she looks raw as hell with this handprint on her face.
Now the Pharaoh's curse won't reach me.
Shut up, dude. Kowalski. Get your shit together, man. If I were to theoretically do this. Okay, so that's the only thing that doesn't belong in that area. Pick it up. Okay. Need to find out where it goes. And I'm wondering, like, it looks like it belongs in the upper corridor, but I feel like we got all of that Betty. No, okay. Keep an eye out, Dove, for somewhere else you could nail a painting. Right here.
Back on the wall.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Just in time for an ad break. I'll see you guys in a minute. All right, welcome back in. I'm trying to escalate this berries bit as much as I can, and I'm happy we're all enjoying it. And by we, I mean I, which means you by extension. I was gonna clean another position. What was it? We're gonna keep our eye out for some bones for this loser. We also just gotta clean out this whole, like, is this the only... This is probably just like one little side room. Let's just clean this up too. Let's just mop this shit up. I've spent almost 20 minutes looking for a specific mannequin. Pray for my soul. A specific mannequin? You sure it didn't get up and run away? They do that. Yes, perfect. Okay, that might be the T-Rex's arm. Come here, you tiny hand. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Floors wise, nothing egregious yet. Give that a little dip.
First things first. Gotta scrub.
Oh, it's dirty. Beautiful, exquisite. Sometimes the music stalls out like that, and I'm not really sure what's causing that to happen. I think Crime Scene Cleaner is... Okay, so House Flipper was not very well optimized. I don't know about House Flipper 2, but House Flipper 1 was not very well optimized, and I wonder if Crime Scene Cleaner was also not super well optimized. Since I'm in the middle of mopping, I'm gonna move the body last in this case. Oh, sorry. Wah. Only 8%. North Exhibition, only 8%. So clearly this is counted as part of another area.
It's been a terrible joke.
Oh, what? They gave her a toy gun to start with? Rip.
One hell of an unlucky guy.
Oh, a guy? This is a boy? I thought it was a girl, but it's a boy? If it's a boy, I'm interested. Hold on. Before I deploy the body into a body bag, let me get a look at this so-called he/him. Transmask. Epic. Kowalski, I didn't know you could tell people's pronouns when they weren't alive to have them anymore. That's actually a really impressive superpower. Yeah, okay, yeah, so this counts as part of the Northern Exhibition because even though it doesn't connect to anything, it's going to, like, be part of a bunch of other shit. Damn it. Here. Okay, so this counts as all of that, and will this as well? Okay, so North Exhibition includes the maze and the duck cult. Can I go this way? I can go this way. Roma by Lulu Suicide. Well, we love that band. Better luck next life. Wink.
Was it really that funny to the almighty VIPs?
Wow, they got this, dude. They got this loser. Oh, and someone fucking nailed this idiot with a fucking bone. stupid. Hmm. But I'm just over here like... Fuck. Get it together, Dove. That's gotta be something. Ooh, hold on, can I reach this and... Okay, there's nothing there. And obviously that... But none of these have anything to worry about then, so... I'm just gonna close all the doors that are fake outs. And keep doors open that lead anywhere. That feels reasonable to me. Come on, Kowalski, get it together, man. Okay, here we go. Kobe! Ha ha! This could also be a nice baculum.
If the time comes, I hope you will spare me.
Now that's good. That's a good comment, Kowalski. I think we're down to just these northern 3 rooms. Yes. So I need to keep an eye out for some bones for the Rex. And some statuary for in here. My light. I'm carrying my bucket. Okay. There's water in there. So let's start with the mace. That'll be good because then we'll be ending on the spooky duck cathedral. Oh shit. Oh shit. Someone tried to fucking play games with this one. We know just where this goes.
There you go.
Perfect. You little shit.
Fuck you.
Shitling. Interesting smear here. Why would they give him money? I guess that's just a better starting price or something. Woof. Oh, we finally filled this. Very good. The bottle I broke is over here. We're going to... Nice and easy. Just follow the Roomba trail. The body? Oh, but someone got lost in here, for sure. We gotta remember to be looking out for a secret room, too. Hope I don't get lost. What's up, dead guy?
The best defense is a good offense.
Wow.
The dinosaur went on a killing spree.
I believe those in the correct direction. Yeah. Bingo. Aha. Asshole. Swap out the water again. I'm going to take it in the maze with me this time. So I want it perfect. Alright, well, if that's where dead guy is, this must be where his killer went. Nice and clean. Alright, come on, Prince Charming. Ooh, come on. Perfect. Pick it up. Pick it up. Nice and easy. Oh shit, one of our missing chairs is in here. Okay, just made some more trash for myself, it's fine. Well, we gotta get in there. They didn't even find this one. They would have given you a frying pan to kill a hoe with. Hmm. You see this too, right? Interesting. Because a secret room was mentioned. And I like those. Hmm. There must be something over there. We'll have to see. Oh, someone left cash on this one. Well, that was nothing. Let's do a quick check, make sure. Oh, we've already scoped out this part. Okay. Anyway, time to put this back where it goes. Is this? Oh, this is that fucking chair that caused me trouble.
Modern art is truly something else.
Okay, Duck Church. Here we go. This is going to be nothing but garbage for a while. Lots of broken shit. Wow. Woof. How unfortunate. There's just one more piece of trash somewhere that they want me to handle. Here we go. Bodies. They went at each other with swords. That fucking rules. But this rib is missing. Hey, hey, come on. Come on, baby. I'm short a bone.
Longsword or katana. Let's call it a draw.
Pick up the body. Whew. You know, this museum arc has been crazy, but we've really got this place looking nice. I liked it better when it was covered in gore. Okay, I wondered if I overshot that, but we're good. Here we go. Come on, baby. 3 hours of just museum content. It's actually like being at one. That's so real.
Sayonara, brave samurai.
What if we all made sort of a pact right now which is whenever we next go to a museum, we bring cleaning supplies and we just start cleaning shit. And whenever the museum staff are like, what are you doing? We're like, well, we just want to really appreciate the art, and cleaning something is a really good way to get like deeply invested in like the details of it. And then they'll kick you out or they'll hire you. Okay. I'm thinking here. Oh, well, first off, this chair does not belong here. Bring some anti-rust stuff and all. Yeah, totally. Some degreaser. Put some degreaser on some recovered hominids. Oh, shit. You know what? None of them broke, though. So that looks intentional. We're gonna top this off. My little cute footprints from walking out of here with those bodies. Yeah, let's really get this shit blasting, huh? Let's go. Hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. You know what? The ducks room isn't nearly as tough as I thought it would be. This would be such a rad way to die. Okay. Actually, hell yeah. Ooh, a little bit of lag. Ooh, don't get that pot. Don't get that pot, Dove. I know, as soon as I break 100, it's all gonna snap. Come on, baby. $98. I just need to clear out another 2% of the blood in this joint.
Is this just my imagination, or am I seeing a lot of ducks lately?
You're imagining it. Haha! This can go here. Beautiful. And then the last thing was this little feather, which goes in here. Right here. Haha! The job is fully completed, bitches! But we still have a secret to hunt. There's a secret room somewhere, at least one. In a space this big, I would hope many. I'm just over here thinking, these doors gotta be suspicious, right? Huh. Minecraft. Huh. By the way, Chad, I'm a fool who re-downloaded Minecraft today. Oh shit, an ad break might be starting soon. Hold on. We'll see when Seribot says. And if Seribot says one's happening, then I'm gonna fucking put on the berries. Those delectable berries. Right. Okay. Where on earth? What made you get back into Minecraft? Just seeing some friends on a server playing it and being like, oh yeah, Minecraft. And so I downloaded it again, saw that I still had my old saves on it, including, like, I remember what got me stuck on that world was the fact that, like, I had automated so much shit for the purposes of villager trading that my shit was overflowing. Oh, the ad break starts. See you guys in a bit. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Let me just, I'm managing a bunch of shit right now because getting the music for one thing and the video for another thing and then displaying it, I gotta juggle some shit whenever it happens. There we go. Back into the gaming screen here, and perfect. All right, we're on secret hunts. Thought there was some shit on the floor. So my first suspicion for what's secret is there's a room with a bunch of fucking floating furniture in it, right? And I'm like, there's gotta be... maybe. Like, there's just a lot here, you know? Or like... Oh, shit! Can I... Yes. Make my own little stairway to heaven. Here we go. Because I was like, I feel like if I could find something by looking down, I would have already. Careful, dove. Oh, shit. What is this? Cool. There's that exclusive opportunity Anubis statue. Now, normally you get a secret discovered notif, but didn't really happen. Like, obviously this is a secret room. This is way too out of the way. It's dope as hell. Be polite and close everything back up like I wasn't even in there. Excellent. Yeah, no, that's kind of conspicuous now that I look at it, huh? But I still think there's another secret. Like, there was an obvious secret door compartment with, like, the TVs in the zone, huh? Well, they weren't here. In here. Yes. Come on, come on, come on. Here we go. Yeah, what's the deal with this? Oh shit.
What is that even for?
It's for a code. This is for a code. We need to find a code. A color code. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A 6 input code. And let's find out the colors too. White, orange, pink, green, blue. Oh shit. You know, this maze isn't tough until it's made of glass. We need a color code. Where on earth could it be? Certainly not in here. I feel like the single color rooms are just that. Pretty single color. Unless there's... no. That doesn't have the colors I need. Oh, here it is. Fuck. Okay, pink, white, green, orange, blue, white. You want more pink than white. Not quite. Pink, white, green, orange, blue.
I'm in.
Ooh, shit. This is a lot. Oh. Oh, fuck. What if this is the best video game in the world? Where are you, my final enemy? What? Well, this shit fucking rules. This museum's straight up haunted. The hazardous life of a maid for hire. That's right. Oh yeah, sword. That CRJ soundbite that I love so much. the museum clean. However, our priceless ancient haunted sword stolen. Well, gang, that was almost exactly 3 hours of cleaning a museum content, and must I say, that was banger. Let's see if I got everything. Not bad for a single night. Not bad for a 3-hour shift. Got him. Fucking got him. Idiot. Looking back up in the chat, what made me get back into Minecraft? It's simple, Blood Orange. I saw some friends playing it, and I'm like, yeah, Minecraft. But when I booted up my world, I found I automated so much shit that I remember why I stopped playing, which was I got so stressed by the amount of production my automations did that I was just constantly running back and forth trading with villagers, trying to, like, you know, clean up my storage space. I should have just destroyed that shit, to be clear. Ooh. That's not really that useful to me. Beautiful. And then this costs. Well, this entire fucking area of the skill tree is cleared out, huh? Oh, improved bucket would have been nice. I should have looked before just spending like crazy. Hello, you not dog.
Don't worry, Dexter. Ladies are more into good boys.
That's true. Ladies like them. Nothing. Go to bed, Kowalski. Around now, I'm expecting a turning point in the plot. Something crazy. Warehouse Limited, that's cute as hell. This shit's cute as hell.
Hard for this moment. And now, everything is finally ready.
that Kowalski?
You really thought you could get away with killing my daughter? No, no, no. It's time you learned your lesson.
No shit.
Boys, let's get this party started.
What is this? So Jim's crazy and iced her.
Keep doing this, Dexter. Working is such a despicable profession. How can I even put a stop to this?
It's Jim.
No.
Workers tried to screw me over, so now they are dead. I have no intention of dealing with that shit again. Do you know how hard it is to find loyal employees nowadays? So how is it gonna be, Kowalski? Are you more loyal than the guys whose corpses you'll be collecting? I believe so. Check your email for details.
Interesting.
Each one of your tasks makes me more of a corpse, Jim.
Hi, Dad. The doctors told me that these are the final weeks of my treatment. I'm excited but also nervous. I know it's not over yet, but I can see the finish line. I'm trying to stay positive and take it one day at a time. I can't wait to be home with you, and I know Dexter's probably waiting for me too. Love you. There's a warehouse to clean up outside town. Fucking riot. Some guy infiltrated the premises and incited other workers to take over the factory. Ungrateful bastards. Disloyalty is a deadly disease. Luckily, I got some of my guys nearby. It didn't take them long to come and put them in their place. If workers don't want to work, they might as well be dead. Yeah, this dude's an asshole. This place should be easy to clean. Remote location, access to running water, almost no furniture. Wait, so was that a flash forward? What was that? The game wants me to buy some detergent upgrades, but I don't even use detergent. It's not fun. This is another huge location, but we have 45 minutes left in the showtime, so I think I'm going to just get a look at the place, maybe start a room.
It'll be a long night.
Call in
This
dead.
was the moment when Big Jim was at his weakest. With so many people going after his ass, he needed to make a choice. If not, there probably wouldn't be anything else to anticipate but his imminent downfall.
Yeah, lay it out. Oh? Oh? Okay, I thought she crashed for a second, but she's just really chugging. I thought I was getting Dragon Aged.
I'm here.
Good. Now listen. The power is down, so find a way to turn it back on. It will help you a lot with your job.
That was the plan, Jimbo.
Honestly, when one thing goes wrong, more disasters have to follow. Those fools must have broken something.
Next to cleaner, I should definitely add electrician to my CV. It won't budge. I have to go around.
All right, all right. Oh, that's what the cards are. Got it. We're gonna get a nice framing moment here. I'm sure of it. This game's taught me to expect a really hot reveal whenever I open a door. Here we go.
No need to look for the bodies.
Wow, wow, wow. Chad, this is what happens when you unionize to me. They have to send in a cleaner afterward. Don't talk about unionizing against me, because I'll Big Jim you.
I can dump bodies down this hatch. If get it to open.
Useful.
No power. This thing won't budge.
You see that like a bad thing. It's not nearly as hot as you want it to be for me to just come in and pap you in the head with a few bullets. What you want is something more intimate with a knife. And you're not going to get that if you unionize. Ooh. It's exactly as hot as I need it to be. You are a dumb slut with low standards.
Will I have to put it all back? It won't move like this. I need to clear the way first.
Is the way not clear enough for you, Kowalski? That is my exact role, thank you. At least he knows what he's about. Licentious lichen. You want me to reposition the forklift? You assuming forklift certified too? 70 minutes looking for this mannequin to use as a reference. I want death to take me. Why do you need this specific mannequin? At that point, I would give up and find a new hoe. I don't even know at this point. And now it's a matter of principle. This looks like a place we might turn on power for. TV room key. That's something. Yeah, this is just like a small break room or something. Shitty break room. No talking, no questions to supervisors, only answer if asked. Key packages sorted. Container contents can go boom, no fighting. I can yell as much as I want, you can't. Good work equals good pay. Again, keep your mouth shut. Signed, the Boos.
The disaster was waiting to happen.
Yeah, you don't treat a workplace like that unless you're me. I'm the Boos. I just have a vivid image of it in my head. It's like the perfect thing. All right, you are a man possessed by a desire to create art. This I cannot hold against you. Well, that's his power supply, so obviously I'm going there. Wow. Me up. Let me up.
They wanted to grab some things and run away.
Ooh, yeah.
Full escape planned.
On top of that, they wanted to steal my stuff. What cowards.
Well, that's funny because we've been stealing from Jim this entire time.
The power switch should be around here somewhere.
Yeah, I'm on it. Ooh, shit. Can I? Nah, chest of steel. Can't get in there. A training room. It was a mistake. Like a musician mastering the ups and downs of composition, a leader adeptly navigates the complexities of social dynamics and geopolitical changes. Interesting. I don't know why that counted as a secret, frankly. Weird little room. Well, this feels like a trap. Hello. Uh-huh. Oop. Come on, baby. We can put that away for sure. What's this? Oh shit, I'm in the security office. And it's the plants guy. Don't forget to water the plants and yourself. I like this running character. You can't seem to stay away from dangerous situations.
This job is the best. Nothing out of the ordinary ever happens, so I have a lot spare time to take care of my plans.
Uh-huh.
Thanks for believing me. Now, I have to go for a quick round to give off the impression of a very busy person.
Uh-huh.
See you soon, man.
Nothing out of the ordinary ever happens.
Ah, cool. Got it. So it's interesting how I've been instructed to find clues about what happened and dispose of the bodies. Ah, okay, here we go. That's like the general task. For some reason, I thought they didn't want me to, like, deal with the blood at all. But I just, that was area specific. Come on, turn on. Power's on. Oh, here we go.
Well armed for a worker.
Yeah, they loaded up their guns. This was my normal way in. Bathroom? Play bathroom? With some art? Alright, nothing really interesting or useful in there. See, right now the idea is to hunt down wherever the operational key might be for this bad boy. Woof! They smorshed him.
Looks like an access card.
For the conveyor. Excellent. Oh, so I gotta find out where to lock that in, so to speak. Hi, Custard. Funny kitty. Okay, sorting room. Blockaded. Gotta get in elsewhere. Control room. Yep, Custard, here she is. She's behind the monitor. I can barely see her, but she stuck her little paw out to yawn and stretch. Okay, so I need to put in the access cards for everybody. Oh, well, that's obviously the lights. There's the conveyors. So the lift, the door, and the elevator still have to have their fuckers found. That'll be really useful. And this needs a password. Oh, I can hack it. Damn, 6320. 6320. Oh. 7594. Haha.
Easy peasy. Another one.
There's our door. Oh, and it looks like an ad break is starting. Time for our berries. See you in a bit. All right, welcome back in from Berry Hell. We have more keys to find to get this place operational. We were just in here, so this is the way. Is this the sorting room that was blocked off?
Well, today is my turn.
Wow. Johnny. Checked by John. Hold on, let me check. Floors, desk, store handles. Yeah, that was, yeah, so John cleaned everything. No wonder dude went crazy. Hello, kitty. She's been slowly creeping out to a position that's a little more troublesome. If it's Barry Allen, why do I enjoy it so much? Checkmate, liberals. The woke left doesn't want you to have fun watching Barry's dance to Silent Hill music. The liberal media is against it. Movie nights every Friday, mandatory. Relaxing OHS movies first. Later, more movies. Bring snacks. Get the old TV room about the power supply. F you, John. Dog TV? Dog TV in this bitch! Oh, maybe John gets it. Let's fucking go! Oh, that's perfect! Next ad break, I'm just gonna run up here and stare at the dog TV. That's wild! Oh, that's so good. Well, we're gonna leave that on. Maybe this game's a masterpiece. Did anyone ever pause to fucking consider that? This is a proper break room. Hey dude, do you have a key card? No, you're just dead. Idiot. Why didn't you live? Dumbass. Nope, nothing. Ugh, so much lag. Let's see, I can take a ride along this little motherfucker. I do wonder... Was I able to get over there? I think I was. Yeah, because that's the control room. But I didn't check out what was over there. Hold on a second. And did I get in here? No, because I need the door opener. Yeah. Oh. Okay, brought a gun. Hello. A little Davis Arini skull. Okay, can't open that. Not allowed. Disallowed from the opening. But what did I just get? The door card? Use maximum of 3 panels at one time. Interesting. Well, obviously I want to break that rule. Wrong way. Wrong way, Dev. Nope, okay. Fine, fine. Oh yeah, this body is moving along just fine. Good for him. Ooh.
Was it shot unintentionally or on purpose?
Detonating a whole thing. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, baby, baby. Locked. What's this? Victory. Ah, yeah, this is the... Cool, that... Got it.
One more to the collection.
There's my elevator. I wonder where this body's actually going. Right down to my truck. That'll be really satisfying. Well, let's break a rule real fast. See what the consequences are for operating another panel, a fourth panel at a time. Do it! Do it!
Fuck. Now I have to rush downstairs again.
Got it, okay. So I have to go all the way downstairs and fix the power. That's not as dramatic as I was hoping for, but that makes sense. Oh, not quite. Not quite. Come on, Dove. Crime Scene Cleaner, best video game in the world. Watch how I can't jump anywhere. Right, power supply is this way. Come on. Accept my stunts. Thank you. And that's not crouch, this is crouch. Right. So I want the lights on, obviously. And I want the conveyor on. And I want the elevator on. And I don't think I need the doors open right now, because I have access to everything. Does that make sense? Like, I found my other way into the sorting room. So I think this is the right idea. Gimme the lights. Give me the conveyors and give me the elevator.
Reinforcements arrived.
Pardon me. I just want to make extra sure. Ooh, there's a higher floor still. Because that makes sense. Each key is letting you access the next key. Woof. This is becoming a bit of a puzzle game, because here's my magnetic lift. Interesting.
A toy for big boys.
Big boy. Okay, and I can't fuck around with it until I've got the power on in that sort of zone. That's where we came from. Ooh. Ooh.
I don't know how long workers will manage without a raise. They're pissed and can't even pay rent when most of their payment is used to pay off the debts they have. Ungrateful bastards. If not for me, they will already be dead.
Uh-huh.
They aren't even in a position to negotiate. Keep them on a tight leash.
Look where that neglect got you.
I love how this game is so boldly anti-capitalist. They're like, we made House Flipper and that was immoral. Time to do something a little more real. Now bro certainly has a fucking secret room. Blackmail notes. Oh shit. Alright, well, let's go down to the cargo zone and see what's good. gang-related violence.
Seems like they had it all perfectly planned.
Motherfuckers. They chose death the moment they decided to go against me.
Oh, he's swanging. My mama told me. No. The beat's not quite where I wanted it to be for that. Ooh. I like that they were sneaking brakes in these cargo containers. That's a very good detail. Okay. Oh shit. Okay, good. So I'm gonna need to... I'm gonna turn off the conveyors to turn on the elevator. Where are you? Oh, not the elevator, the lift. The crane. It would be a crane. What a really cool level. More? Maybe not. Hold on. I'm just thinking... Perfect. Because I'm just thinking, like, what if there's a secret in there? And I'm supposed to get in there. Woo! Yeah, see? I'm supposed to be getting up in there. And I know just how to do it. Ooh. This is the planning area.
Managed to connect the faintest of threads. I wonder if he told anybody about it.
If he had, I would have known about it by now. But still, this place is bland. Too many people snooping around.
Yeah, for sure. I don't want to have to go through all the steps it took to get up here again, so I'm just actually going to clean this spot real fast.
Standing almighty above them all.
Whoop.
Seems to be their leader.
Rip, idiot. Idiot. All right, that's fine. You've still got water. Here we go. Woo, woo. Lagged out a little bit. Okay. I unlocked the ability to dual wield my sponges, I believe. I don't know how to make that happen. Anyways. Ooh, Nefertiti. And that was the Egypt key.
Now I'm certain about who is responsible for Tammy's disappearance.
Oh?
Every day that I work for this scumbag makes me sick to my stomach. But I have to endure it for now.
Ooh.
That arrogant piece of trash promoted me, so he must trust me on some level. He's weak now and won't see what's coming. Big Jim, you will pay for what you did to my daughter.
Their leader wanted a revenge for murdering his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
You've made yourself some enemies.
Hiya, person, treat him well. And look what got me. Leave all the evidence in the office before you go. I need to take a closer look at it myself.
Will do.
Alright, Kowalski. But I'm certain he's got some red fucking flags right now. Yeah, I don't want to have to come back up here. Yeah, perfect. And let's just maximize the height here. Beautiful. Because I'm right here thinking it would be ideal if I could get the conveyors back on, and that magnet was able to turn on even though there wasn't power to the arm. So I bet if I just... Nope. That's gotta be on. Unfortunate. All right, everybody. I think I'm going to call it here for today. Thank you all so much for coming. I'm going to find us someone to raid into. I know it's a little bit early for us, but I can't think of anything else to do other than start actually cleaning in earnest, and that would be a little weird. Let me open up our raid browser. Let's see. Oh, it looks like Alfira. Let's go right into Alfira. She's super fun. Can I close that out? Okay. Mentally, I'm still in the museum. The museum, honestly, was such a banger fucking spot. But we're going to have a lot of fun with this warehouse, I think, when we come back to Crime Scene Cleaner. In the meantime, thank you all so much for coming, and good morning.